Imagine a private organization with over 1.6 million employees, generating more than $220 billion a year and operating inside 99% of the Fortune 500. These are the Big Four: Deloitte, PwC, EY, and KPMG. To the general public, they are boring, invisible bookkeepers, the people who check the math after the real work is done. In reality, they are the nervous system of global capitalism. They structure multinational mega-mergers, design the tax rules that route billions across borders, and manage the most critical functions of national governments. We often scrutinize the power of big tech or Wall Street banks, but while those monopolies face constant regulatory threats, the Big Four operate in the background, largely insulated from public challenge. This raises a question of structural power. How did four private accounting firms become so deeply embedded in the economy that the system itself is no longer allowed to function without them? The modern dominance of the Big Four began with a legal requirement. In the wake of the 1929 crash, the U.S. passed the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, which forced every public company to obtain an independent external audit of their financial statements. This mandate created a captive market of unprecedented scale. Every major corporation in the world's largest economy was now legally required to hire an accounting firm every single year, regardless of the quality of the service. For decades, this market was split between the Big Eight, but globalization and the 2002 collapse of Arthur Andersen following the Enron scandal reduced that number to just four. Andersen's criminal conviction destroyed the firm, leaving the survivors to absorb its clients and its power. Competing with these survivors is now virtually impossible. To audit a global multinational today, a firm needs regulatory accreditation in over 150 countries, enough liability insurance to cover a systemic bank failure, and a multinational network of partners that takes decades to build. Their dominance is no longer a matter of market competition. It is a product of a system where the rules of capitalism require a scale that only these four organizations can provide. This chart reveals the shift in their business model. Traditional audit and accounting now represent a minority of their total revenue, typically less than 30%, while consulting and technology services have grown to dominate their income. The audit relationship provides the firms with something far more valuable than the fee itself: permanent, guaranteed access to the senior management and boards of the world's largest companies. They use this proximity to sell lucrative advisory work, overseeing massive cloud migrations, cost-cutting initiatives, and post-merger integrations that generate fees far higher than the initial audit contract. Perhaps most profitable is the tax advisory wing. An estimated 100,000 Big Four professionals worldwide devise the complex structures used by corporations to minimize their contributions to public treasuries. This creates a structural conflict. The same firm hired to serve the public interest as a financial watchdog is often economically dependent on the management team it is supposed to be policing for their consulting and tax fees. This failure of independence became clear during the 2008 financial crisis. Every major bank at the center of the collapse had received a clean audit opinion shortly before imploding, signed by partners who were often managing broader commercial relationships with those same banks. The professionals designing the corporate tax loopholes and strategy are the exact same ones paid to catch financial irregularities. This influence has moved from corporate boardrooms into the heart of government. From Washington to London to New Delhi, national governments have become some of the Big Four's most significant clients. This has created a consultocracy, the governance of public institutions through private firms that are not accountable to voters. Governments now outsource everything, from healthcare reform to defense strategy, to these firms. We saw the physical reality of this during the COVID-19 pandemic. In the UK, core elements of the public health response were managed by Deloitte and other firms at a cost of billions, leading to questions about whether the state has lost the internal capacity to manage its own crises. This reliance is reinforced by a revolving door. Regulators leave government to join Big Four advisory practices, while Big Four partners frequently move into the very agencies meant to oversee the industry. By hollowing out their internal expertise, governments have become dependent on the same firms that advise the corporations they are attempting to regulate. The Big Four business model currently faces a challenge from automation. AI is now capable of performing the labor-intensive transaction testing and data analysis that has traditionally been done by armies of junior associates. But the firms are already capturing the next growth engine, ESG reporting. As environmental and social disclosures become mandatory, the Big Four are positioning themselves as the indispensable gatekeepers of this new regulatory frontier. Despite the history of scandals and the clear conflicts of interest, the question remains, why don't regulators break them up? They have become too few to fail. If a regulator were to collapse one of the remaining firms, the market would shrink to a big three, a scenario so unstable that the global financial system might not survive the disruption. The Big Four represent a masterclass in structural power. They built their dominance by making themselves so profoundly useful that the modern global economy cannot function without